Binance has just stated that they've rejected going through with buying FTX. Like literally the due diligence was not even, or maybe just over 24 hours. And they've must have found all kinds of issues and mishandling and perhaps even some criminal activity in there, which made them step away and say, we're not touching this at all. Reason being is if Binance were to go ahead and purchase FTX, anything that was pending in terms of lawsuits or criminal activity, they would have to actually, that would be their problem going forward. So they stepped away, and this is pretty big because what happens to anyone's assets that were on FTX? And there's quite a few people. I believe Tom Brady and his ex-wife now, or soon to be ex-wife, had I believe around 60 million on that platform. So it's crazy. I don't know what's going on in terms of what's going to happen moving forward. Many institutions were, not even just institutions, everyone or most people in the crypto space were pumping up Sam Bankman-Fried, you know, as the next prodigy child here, the next genius. And so they probably bought in quite heavily into his platform, perhaps into his token. And so with that being said now, wow, it's crazy. It's crazy. The fallout from this will probably be bigger than Celsius. That's my take. But what I do want to say is shout out to BitBoy. I just saw a video of his last night, and he pretty much said that with the amount of evidence, hard evidence that he has, and the pending lawsuits that Sam Bankman-Fried will be served if they already haven't, he said that it's not for sure that Binance was going to go through with the purchase. And look, it turned out that that did not happen. So kudos to him for putting that out there well before it actually happened. And it's a crazy time. But here's what I do want to say. I mean, Bitcoin, I think, has hit 15,000s in there. You are going to hear all kinds of people who were not on the Bitcoin or crypto train before, or who are notable bears, right? Or, you know, people who don't care for the space or who always claim that it's going to go to zero. They're all going to come out of the woodwork now. They're going to be front and center. They're going to be in your face, and they're going to be the most loud. But you got to tune that noise out. This is a devastating situation, adding on to the Celsius and the Voyagers and all the stuff that's been happening, and the Luna crash, right? It's been a terrible year for all of this, 100%. Can't sugarcoat that. But the main fundamentals of Bitcoin, the core values of what it's trying to do and the network effect that it has, you cannot discount. You cannot discount all the positive things that have been happening. JP Morgan and two other banks, I can't remember if it was UBS and one other bank in Asia, also on top of JP Morgan, went through and enacted trades on a blockchain. This is some big stuff that's happening. All the partnerships that are happening, all the positive momentum. We cannot forget that either. So as bad as this is, we can't just only look at the negative. And so here's the positive spin to this. If you have been waiting on the sidelines, hey, this is your opportunity. But don't be one of those people that says, well, now that it's 15,000 or 16,000, I'm going to wait till it hits 5,000. Also, the people who are very loud are going to say, I told you it was going to go to 7,000 or 10,000 or 15. And not a single one of them had any idea this was going to happen. This is just something that turned out to be right as the final result in terms of if they said 15,000 or 13,000, somewhere in there. But how it got there, they had no clue. Nobody had a clue. So tune them out, do your own research, look at the fundamentals. The same way people always say, don't buy into the hype when things are super hot. That's equally important when things are, you know, everyone's saying, stay away, and there's quote unquote blood in the streets. You got to stay away from the mass noise that's out there. Do your own research and really look at the fundamentals, okay? And look at where we're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. You don't have to be 100% accurate, but at least have that thought process, that thought experiment, as opposed to where we are today. And it's a crazy day. Who knows what's going to happen going forward? But there are some very solid people in this space who are going to make sure that going forward, we're not going to have the same issue. And that's another point too, is that every disastrous event that we've had, for the most part in history, as bad as it's been, it's always been improved going forward, right? We learn from those disastrous mistakes. The problem is, especially in this case, in the Celsius and the 3 Arrow Capital and all that, is that the average Joe and Joan, we're the ones that take the brunt of it as the elites learn from it and move on, right? Or the institutions or the entities do. So that does hurt. I feel for anyone who has any assets on FTX, you're not going to get anything. For all intents and purposes, that's gone. And even Sam Bankman-Fried, his net worth, I think, it's ridiculous. He's obviously in the billions before, and now it's reported he's about minus 200 million or something like that. Crazy day, but tune the noise out, do your own research, and let's look for the next 5, 10 plus years as opposed to the next 6 to 10 months.